I believe it was the French film director Jean-Luc Godard who once observed that reality is complex. Stories divot form. While video games are a much younger medium compared to films and books, their interactive nature allows them to tell incredible stories in new and exciting ways. Thanks to increased graphical capabilities and commitment by publisher Sony to invest in innovative new projects by some of the industry's brightest minds, the PlayStation 4 is home to some of gaming's best narratives. And you could argue its worst one, since they brought Beyond Two Souls over from the PlayStation 3. Hi, I'm Liam from Pushsquare, and I'm back once again to bring you our rundown of the 10 best single-player story-driven games on PlayStation 4. Before we start, if you did have a little look down there, press that like button, maybe click subscribe, it really helps. Alright, that's out of the way, let's get started. Let's start things off with Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Developed by Ninja Theory, Hellblade tells the story of Senua, a young Celtic warrior who succumbs to psychosis following the murder of her lover by invading Viking forces. Written in conjunction with physicians and those who suffer from the condition, Hellblade's representation of psychosis results in a fascinating narrative-driven adventure. Devoid of any on-screen UI elements, players must rely on the voices that whisper from within Senua's head in order to gather hints and to orientate themselves during combat. With a third-person camera that's a bit too close to Senua at all times, and vicious enemies that think it's just really funny to spawn directly behind you, the voices help you as much as they hinder, frequently deceiving you throughout the game. To put it simply, Hellblade isn't a comfortable game to play. It's a claustrophobic and distressing journey through an intentionally fragmented storyline, one that sticks with you for long after the credits roll. Give Hellblade a try if you're looking for a story-driven game with a biting edge. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. Out of all of the games we've featured on this list, Journey is perhaps the most unique. Presenting a narrative told without a single line of dialogue, written or spoken, Journey puts the player in the role of a cloaked figure as they make their way across a desert towards a distant mountain peak. With very few gameplay mechanics and the majority of information left purposefully obtuse, Journey relies on the player's own interpretation in order to assign meaning to the events that occur over its short runtime. Stunningly presented with gorgeous graphics and one of the most moving soundtracks in all of gaming, Journey is a powerfully emotive experience that is simply like nothing else on PlayStation. It's a near perfect example of the storytelling capabilities of interactive media and an essential purchase for anyone looking for a wholly original adventure like none other on PlayStation. While we're on the subject of emotionally charged games that tell a subtle narrative, it seems fitting that the next game on this list is the one that arguably perfected the art of doing so. Coming in at number 8, Shadow of the Colossus is a game as awe-inspiring as it is still, as magnificent as it is understated. The game's storyline focuses on Wander, a young man who enters a forbidden land on horseback with a sole objective: to defeat the 16 hulking colossi in order to restore life to a young woman named Mono. There are no characters to talk to, no dungeons to explore, no towns to seek refuge within. There is just you, your trusty horse, a vast open plain, and 16 imposing monsters to take down one at a time. Often replicated but never bested, Shadow of the Colossus remains a timeless experience. Clambering up colossi, using their thrashing limbs as makeshift platforms in order to plunge your sword into their hard to reach weak points is as much a puzzle as it is a test of survival. When a colossi finally falls, it's a moment of exhausted joy, undercut by a feeling of grim unease. These monsters are aggressive, right? I mean, it's not like I'm the invader coming into this foreign land and killing these innocent, peaceful creatures, right? There are very few games like those made by creator Fumito Ueda, but there is literally nothing else like Shadow of the Colossus. Bluepoint's stunning PS4 remaster enhances the original in new ways, but the core of the gameplay remains the same as when it was originally released on the PS2 in 2005. Play it, fall in love with it, and get ready for it to leave you an emotional, blubbering wreck. At number 7, we have Uncharted 4 A Thief's End. Nathan Drake's swan song sees a post-The Last of Us Naughty Dog revisiting the beloved adventurer one last time with a more nuanced and mature approach compared to the PS3 trilogy. With his adventuring days far behind him, A Thief's End sees an older Drake living a quiet suburban life with partner Elena. Following the return of long-lost brother Sam, Drake uproots his life and puts his relationship in jeopardy by embarking on a secret, globe-trotting quest to find the hidden treasure of pirate Henry Avery. A swashbuckling adventure that is as pulpy and grandiose as the previous 3 entries in the series, Uncharted 4 interjects quiet moments of self-reflection in between the bombastic action set pieces that made Uncharted so popular in the first place. It's in these moments that Uncharted 4 truly shines. What could have easily been a riotous finale for Drake is exalted by shining a long overdue light on the flaws of the main cast. Drake is older, he has responsibilities, a wife, friends and family, all of whom become alienated and distant as Drake's endless quest for fame and fortune once again takes priority over everything else in his life. Throw in some great third-person combat, an improved stealth system and graphics that at times remain unparalleled by anything else on the system, and you have one of the PS4's best story-driven titles, an action game with soul. If you've never played an Uncharted game before, don't worry, you can experience all of Nathan Daddy Drake's adventures by picking up Uncharted The Nathan Drake Collection, a compilation of the PS3 classic titles remastered by Bluepoint Games. Also, you should pick up Uncharted The Lost Legacy. It's a spin-off of Uncharted 4 where you play as fan favourite Chloe Fraser. It's not as long as Uncharted 4, but it does some really interesting things with the story and gameplay mechanics, and just trust me, it's an essential purchase for any Uncharted fan. Yakuza 6 boasts one of the best stories in the entire series, and that says a hell of a lot. Wrapping up the story of long-time series protagonist and everyone's collective video game dad, Kazuma Kiryu, Yakuza 6 features a narrative as deep and complex as other entries in the series. Taking place primarily within Kamurocho, an entertainment district nestled within the heart of Tokyo and the main location for most of the series, Kiryu attempts to resolve conflicts between rival criminal families as well as taking care of his own. Alongside the main storyline, there's also a smattering of entertaining side missions for Kiryu to undertake, as well as the series' usual array of bonkers minigames, such as karaoke, darts, and spearfishing. You know, normal, everyday activities. Bolstered by a superb cast of new and returning characters, Kiryu's final chapter is stuffed to the brim with raw emotion, gripping drama, and multiple mind-blowing twists. Although the game does a fine job of telling its own individual story, those new to the series may find Big Lad Kazuma's last hurrah dampened somewhat without having 5 games worth of emotional investment to draw upon. Luckily, every entry in the Yakuza series— I don't mean you, Sunshine, off your pop— is available to play on the PS4 in a remastered form. Yakuza 0 is the perfect place to start though. A prequel set before the events of the original Yakuza, 0 is the game that thrust the series into the spotlight in the West, and for good reason. It's absolutely brilliant. There's never been a better time to get into one of gaming's most underappreciated series. Trust me, there were a lot of very heated debates among the Push Square staff about which game in the Strand genre we should include in this list. Stits and Rope Simulator 2020? Baby in a Jar, The Strand Chronicles? Peter Molyneux's What's in the Strand? It was a tough call, but at the end of the day, we knew the choice was obvious. It had to be Hideo Kojima's modern Strand masterpiece, Norman Reedus, and the Funky Fetus. In at number 5 we have Death Stranding. After departing Konami in 2015 following the extended development of Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain, Death Stranding is industry legend Hideo Kojima's first game since saying goodbye to his beloved series about vampires, haunted arms and big nuclear robots. Thankfully, Kojima's latest is a continuation of the offbeat storytelling he pioneered in his groundbreaking Metal Gear Solid series. Taking place within the United Cities of America, protagonist Sam Porter Bridges, portrayed by the Walking Dead's Norman Reedus, is a sci-fi delivery man who must traverse across a harsh post-apocalyptic landscape in order to hand over packages to disparate settlements scattered across the country. Methodical and slow, Death Stranding's core gameplay loop won't be for everyone, but for those who stick with its unconventional gameplay, there is a wealth of madcap storytelling to uncover. Babies in jars that connect you to the land of the dead, bloated sea creatures washed up on faraway shores, a man who dies every 21 minutes in order to search for his dead family, a woman who breastfeeds a ghost, daisies floating in a shower of timefall, a character called Die Hard Man. There's no shortage of classic Kojima nonsense. But it's the concept of connection that elevates Death Stranding beyond its initial weirdness. As the game progresses, players can construct buildings and structures that assist others as they play through the game themselves. As once insurmountable journeys become pleasant jaunts thanks to additions such as ziplines and roads that are transported into your world by others online, Death Stranding's true storyline emerges. Disregard the babies, the ghosts and the rainfall. Death Stranding isn't about the destination. It's about the journey and those who helped us along the way. At number 4, we have 2018's God of War. After a stellar trilogy spanning 2 generations of PlayStation hardware that saw protagonist Kratos slaughtering every Greek god as efficiently as a Roman army introducing Christianity, it was hard to see what direction developer Santa Monica Studio would take the series in next. Returning in 2018, God of War was a soft reboot of the franchise that saw the series' blood-soaked storyline and comically aggressive main character replaced with a more refined, mature approach to both core aspects. Now living in Midgard, a fantasy amalgamation of ancient Norway in the mythical realm found in Norse mythology, an older Kratos embarks on a journey with his young son Atreus following his wife's death. As the story progresses, a stoic Kratos is gradually humanized by the compassionate and curious Atreus. To see a deity as powerful as Kratos be humbled by parenthood is a delight, and makes God of War the best entry in the series by a considerable margin. Exploring the colourful world of Midgard and all of its connected realms is a visual treat in of itself, but experiencing it via the interplay between father and son, with Atreus providing mythical backstory and Kratos dispensing world-weary advice, will keep you glued to the screen. A small cast of secondary characters lend much-needed levity, while fun adversaries add dramatic tension to an already superb plot. All in all, God of War manages to reinvent the franchise, while never losing sight of what made it so wonderful in the first place. Also, it has the best arts in all of video games. Just look at this. Mwah. Set 12 years before the events of the original game, Red Dead Redemption 2 is developer Rockstar's most ambitious title to date. Taking place against a stunningly realised backdrop of the western United States, Red Dead Redemption 2 puts players in the role of Arthur Morgan, a prominent member of the Van der Linde Clan. Unlike many other games, Red Dead Redemption 2 isn't afraid to let its characters breathe. For such a huge blockbuster, the deliberate pacing could be considered off-putting, but by providing so many opportunities for the player to spend intimate time with the game's cast of flawed characters, the payoff is so much sweeter. Anyone who played the original will already be aware of how this specific tale ends, but Rockstar utilises this to the story's advantage in masterful ways. By the end, you'll be hard-pressed not to care about Arthur Morgan and his fellow band of outlaws. Red Dead Redemption 2 is as narratively complex and memorable an experience as fans of the studio have come to expect. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a huge undertaking, but one you can't afford to miss. Whether you're a fan of dark fantasy media like Game of Thrones, huge open world RPGs like Skyrim, or are just craving more after wrapping up Netflix's The Witcher TV series, The Witcher 3 is the game for you. Set in the realm of the continent, The Witcher 3 sees protagonist Geralt of Riviera searching for his missing adopted daughter who is on the run from a supernatural force known as the Wild Hunt. Geralt is a Witcher, a monster hunter trained in the arts of magic, alchemy and combat, and granted supernatural abilities through appearance-altering mutagens. Seen as an outcast by society at large, Geralt performs a necessary service for the people of the continent, even if they don't necessarily accept him for what he is. Like any good fantasy fiction worth its salt, The Witcher 3's central plot and side quests tackle real-world issues in a fantastical setting, exposing the moral grey areas that lie at the heart of human quandaries in a nuanced, mature way. In fact, The Witcher features side quests so good, so fleshed out and well written, that some of them are better than most plotlines in other AAA games. The Bloody Baron side quest is a personal highlight, and honestly, it's one of my favourite storylines in all of gaming. And it's just one side quest in this huge game. Despite Geralt being a pre-existing character with a backstory and a personality, The Witcher 3 gives players the choice to respond to situations with a number of dialogue options throughout the game. Certain in-game actions also carry consequences, with warring factions remembering a role you played at previous points in the game's far-reaching narrative and responding accordingly. He may not be a character of your own creation, but you really do feel like you're genuinely role-playing as Geralt after a few short hours with the Dame. If you're looking for gripping and mature narratives, look no further than the PS4's greatest RPG. There are a lot of dads on this list. It's almost like most Dame developers have reached parenthood themselves and are incorporating their real-life experiences within the narratives that they're writing. Luckily, we've saved the best dad till last. Despite launching on the PlayStation 3 7 years ago, The Last of Us is still the best example of interactive storytelling we've ever experienced. Developed by Uncharted creators Naughty Dog, The Last of Us tells the story of protagonist Joel as he escorts Ellie on a journey through post-apocalyptic America. Following a viral outbreak which causes infected humans to kill indiscriminately before mutating into fungal monstrosities, society is left in tatters. After a shady deal goes south, Joel is given the task of escorting 14-year-old Ellie cross-country in order to receive a payment he was promised. Told over the course of 4 seasons, The Last of Us delivers a perfectly paced narrative about the importance of human connection, the emotional toll of survival, love, loss, and parenthood. The Dame's entire cast of characters deliver stellar performances, but it's Troy Baker's Joel and Ashley Johnson's Ellie that steal the show. Nuanced and grounded, the pair believably depict 2 desperate survivors as they experience the traumas, horror, and rare moments of hope that occur during the extent of their long journey together. Combined with a gritty and weighty combat system that brings heightened tension to each encounter with both the formidable infected and equally unpredictable dance of human survivors, a stunning depiction of a desolate United States that looks beautiful on a PS4 Pro, and a soundtrack by composer Gustavo Santaolalla that adds additional layers to an already emotionally rich experience, and you have a Dame that is simply unforgettable. The remastered package also comes bundled with Left Behind too, an additional storyline that is as powerful as the main Dame despite its 2.5-hour runtime. To say anything else would be a spoiler, so I leave you with this. The Last of Us is a masterpiece, and is easily the best story-driven experience on PlayStation 4. We can't wait to see what happens next when the sequel launches on PS4 in the first half of 2020. Just make sure you have some tissues handy, because that first hour, ooh, destroys me every time. Hi, this is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed our list of the top 10 best single-player story-driven games on the PS4. Think we missed something? Make sure to check out our full list of all 30 games over on the Push Square website, linked in the description below. Still think we missed something? Leave a comment below. I would genuinely love to see what your favourite story-driven game is on the PlayStation 4. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and make sure to subscribe to Push Square for everything PlayStation. Thanks for watching.